You're listening to Voice of Israel.
Hello, everyone from Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the Jewish people. You are listening to One Nation with Dov Lipman. It is great to be on the air with you after a week's break. Last Sunday was the holiday of Shavuot, so we had no broadcast week. I want to describe to all of you what the holiday of Shavuot is like in Israel. At its core, the holiday is actually a celebration of the harvest. It's the time where after the winter and the spring has come and the rains have come, we're ready to harvest the crops, and it's a celebratory time for an agricultural society. There's actually a mitzvah called Bikurim, the first fruits, which are brought to the Jerusalem, to the temple, a special holiday from the agricultural side. But there's another aspect to the holiday, and that is it's the day that we celebrate the giving of the Torah, or I should say the receiving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, which according to our tradition took place on that date, the 6th of the Hebrew month Sivan. And there's a tradition to stay up all night on Shavuot and study. Imagine that for a moment. You have the synagogue services in the evening, and then you come home, you have a festive meal, and instead of the normal routine, which is on the heels of that festive meal, going to sleep with a feeling of being quite stuffed, instead of that, you try to gain your energies and strengths and stay up all night and study. And that's what I did last Saturday night, actually, leading into Sunday. I studied with my 11-year-old daughter for a little bit, and then went to a yeshiva, went to a rabbinic seminary near my home, and studied with my son, my 18-year-old son, throughout the night. There's nothing quite like that feeling of occupying ourselves for about 4.5 hours, studying the religious and the sacred texts until the morning prayers at sunrise in the morning. But I don't want to focus on myself. I want to give you a picture of what was happening throughout Israel, because that's the true celebration. This is not a night which is reserved just for the religious. This is a night where both religious and secular throughout Israel, all over the country, in every city, in every kibbutz, in every settlement, people join together to connect to those sacred texts. And that's a critical piece of Israeli society. When we celebrate our return to our land and the establishment of our state, a critical piece is also the return of people, whether religious or secular, to studying those texts that have been a part of our lives for thousands of years. And there's a renaissance going on in Israel today related to connecting to those texts and going back to the core of who we are as a people. When I think back in my time in the Knesset, there was an amazing time in the week. Every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, a colleague of mine, member of Knesset, Ruth Calderon, established a Beit Midrash, a study hall session for us in the Knesset, where people of all backgrounds got together and unified around those texts, and we talked about all kinds of different issues and moral challenges, ethical challenges that come up, and look to those texts, look to the Bible, look to the Talmud, to see how we can apply the lessons from those sacred and more ancient texts to modern society. And that's what happened all over Israeli society, all over Israel, last Saturday night as we celebrated the holiday of Shavuot, and certainly a real cause for great celebration.